Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are talking today about the science of striking, about specifically the biomechanics and the very technique of punching power, which will help us understand the physics behind having devastating impact in our punches. We have to have a shift in our perspective about punching and striking in general. A lot of people think about striking as a stiff, robotic, linear movement, which is not correct. You have to think about your body as a whip, so you can integrate all your body parts and focusing it in one specific strike and in one specific point, which follows the kinetic chain principle. You imagine your body as a bullwhip cracking through air. Your body, when throwing a punch, operates on the exact principle of a bullwhip. You're not just swinging your arm, you're orchestrating a symphony of bones, muscles, and physics that can generate forces exceeding 1,000 pounds per square inch. This is obviously for professional boxers, but the key concept is that energy travels through connected segments, accelerating from the base to the tip, accumulating in devastating impact force. Contrary to a common belief, power doesn't start in the shoulders. It starts in the feet, which is the muscles you use to walk. The biggest muscles of the body, the biggest bones of the body are obviously located in the lower part. So you can surely take advantage of this. Here's in detail. You have to have a good foundation, which is your legs and the hips. You drive your leg into the ground, and as we know, each action has an opposite and equal reaction. So obviously the ground is not gonna go anywhere. Your body will. So when you push your leg into the ground, it will propel you with force, which equals at least 40% of the total power, maybe even more. They did a study on professional boxers, and they found that the boxers that hit the hardest or knockout artists, the ones that are known for their punching power, not the ones that are known with speed or technique or good defense, the ones that are known for their devastating punches, actually use their legs more. They utilize the power of the legs because it's the primary power source, utilizing the stretch shortening cycle. To know what is the stretch shortening cycle, basically when you want to jump or do any movement, you have to stretch the muscle, which will have some potential energy. Then you explode. And between this stretching and shortening, there's a phase in the middle which is called amortization phase. This is the phase where you actually want to activate the muscles as hard as possible, so you can use another advantage of your body. Obviously, when you push into the ground, your hips rotate sharply. You don't rotate your hips softly. It has to be sharp and explosive and fast, so you can have transfer in power to the upper body, which leads us to the torso or the core. These are basically stabilizers, our core muscles. They stabilize us, they make us stand up. We do a lot of work in our core muscles, so we have to utilize them also in punching. When we rotate our hips, it will stretch our cross-body chains. These are the external obliques and the internal obliques and the abs. When they will stretch, we will again use another kinetic chain because the body has a lot of kinetic chains. There are kinetic chains in the legs, in the torso, in the arm. When you rotate your hips sharply, it will stretch the second kinetic chain, and then you can contract even more during the amortization phase, so you can whip your body like a whip as fast and as hard as possible, which comes to the shoulder. As for the shoulder, many people think that you are putting your shoulder into the punch like you're pushing your shoulder, but this is incorrect. The shoulder is merely transferring the power. If you are making your shoulder go ahead of the body, you use that whip effect, which is contradicting to the previous principles that we talked about. So your shoulder has to be back. It has to be concave, so you can transfer the most power that you can. Until the last second, at the moment of impact, you tighten the shoulders, which will give stability. Your deltoids, your rotator cuff muscles, and your pecs, pectorals. When you contract them at the last second, this is when you can stabilize the force without losing it in the previous stages of the punch, because it is an integrated move. It is like a cascade of events. If you lose, if one chain of the body comes loose, you will lose everything. So it has to be in perfect symphony. The acceleration or the arm extension depends on the type of the punch. If it is straight, you extend your arm in a straight line. If it's a hook punch, you do a lateral swing of the arm. If it's an uppercut, you move your arm in arcing motion upwards. But the basic principles are the same, but there are some differences. For example, in a straight punch, you extend your arms vertically, then you rotate them at the last second, creating more whip. In the hook, you let your arm fly, then contract your shoulders at the last second. So it's like the punch is almost like a baseball swing or a golf swing. You use your hips to power the movement. A hook is very similar to like a shot put thrower. You keep your arms stacked to your body until the last second, and then you extend them. If they are far out of the body, you will lose power. You will lose that weight transfer. Then comes the impact or the fist connection. There is actually some debate between combat sports athletes. Should you connect with the three knuckles at the bottom or the first two knuckles of the index and the middle finger? Jack Dempsey, which is one of the most fearsome boxers of all time, one of the greatest, he's actually the very idol of Mike Tyson, which is well known, says you should connect the punch with the pinky finger. But a lot of people disagree with him because it is a weak joint. The first knuckles are the strongest. So there's some debate, and each one chooses the one that suits him best. I personally use only the middle finger, maybe the index if I want to stabilize more or I lose my aim, because these are the strongest knuckles. Jack Dempsey says you should use the pinky because of a theory that he came up with, which is the power line, which is an imaginary line that extends from the pinky to the back of the shoulders or the real deltoids. These are again only theories, but the common belief that you should connect with the first two knuckles, not with the fingers, not with the flat of the hand, not with the thumb, not a slap. You should connect with the knuckles, which are the metacarpals. And there is another thing that you should know. You should keep your hands loose during the entire punch until the last 2 or 3 inches. Just as the fist connects at the moment of impact, you grip your wrist and your fist, and you contract them as hard as possible. If you keep your fists loose, your hands will become a pillow. If you are tight for the whole movement, you won't integrate your entire body. So it's a very fine detail that many people don't know about that makes all the difference. And when you contract at the last second, you will jar your opponent's brain. When you connect on, let's say, the jaw or the chin of the opponent or the nose, that whiplash effect will jar the opponent's brain, which leads to a concussion or a knockout. So he will become unconscious or at least badly hurt, which will stop him. Let's say in a self-defense situation or in a boxing contest, you will win if you connect at the right moment. Sometimes you don't need to rotate your entire body like Muhammad Ali. He didn't. He relied on his speed and accuracy and connecting at the moment of impact, grabbing his fist and tightening at the very moment of impact. He was very loose until that very moment, which led to many knockouts, like his knockout against Stanley Liston, which he didn't get knocked out prior to that. It was his first loss, and it shocked many people because he was a very strong boxer. Stanley Liston was a very strong boxer, getting knocked out against Muhammad Ali, which he, when he was only 21 years old, he was very young and lacked a lot of experience in the people's eyes. But he knew what to do and when to do it. So yeah, it's a very important concept to know. Here we come to force equals mass times acceleration. Obviously, weight classes exist in combat sports for a reason. A bigger man will have a clear advantage against a smaller man because he has more mass. He can use that mass to hurt the smaller opponents, which is a disadvantage to the little guy. For example, take Rene Garcia, a very strong lightweight boxer. Put him against like Mike Tyson or Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. These are the big heavyweights. And it's very obvious who is going to win and who is going to lose because their skill is very similar. They are both competent boxers. They are all professional boxers, Olympic gold medalists. But they have a clear advantage, which is strength. This is why no one will fight a bear or a whale or an elephant, because of the size and mass advantage. As for the acceleration part, some people are not that big, but they can throw punches hard enough to jar someone's brain and knock people that are 2 times or 3 times bigger than them. So size is not the only advantage. There's speed and acceleration. Someone like Bruce Lee, he was only 135 pounds, but he can knock out heavyweights. Why? Because of his technique and his speed. It was flawless. So if you are already heavy and possess great acceleration, you will be a monster in the ring or in the street altercations, because this is the perfect formula for knocking out your opponents. Let's talk about a very important thing or concept, which is your fighting stance. As I talked earlier, technique is the single most important thing you can do to increase your punching power. You can lift weights, you can condition your knuckles, condition your fists, your body, but if your technique is loose, if you let only one chain loose, the others fall apart. Technique is very important. And the most important thing in technique is your stance, fighting stance, which is how you utilize your legs. Feet should be shoulder width apart. You make your dominant foot on the backside so you can utilize it to the full extension of the punch, and it shouldn't be too wide or too narrow. You should put most of your weight on the back foot. It's almost like a baseball swing or golf swing or swinging a tennis racket. The same thing, almost like a tether ball. You keep your knees slightly bent, not too low, not too high, but in a comfortable bend, like almost you are surfing. You keep your core engaged, but still relaxed. You don't want any tension. You want to be loose, so you can contract your muscles better. Your spine neutral. Some boxing coaches say you have to elevate your front shoulder so you can move your spine laterally. It's up to debate. Let's talk about rotation. As I said prior, you have to rotate your hips as fast and as hard as possible to reach the moment of impact with full force, which leads to a very important concept. Elite strikers utilize the hips before the shoulders. They are the second gear of the punch. First you drive your legs into the ground, then you rotate your hips, then everything comes after this. It is the very base of the punch. Proximal to distal sequencing. Sequential timing creates a whip-like effect where each segment accelerates the next. 50 to 60% of the total power from the hip rotation, which is very similar to other sports, like when you're swinging a bat or a tennis racket or throwing a ball or doing a shot put exercise or throwing a javelin. Every swing and throw sport utilize the kinetic integrated method. For example, Mike Tyson, which is one of the hardest punchers in boxing history, rotated his hips in 180 degrees, which is a lot. You have to have a very good loose joints to do this. If your joints are locked or stiff, you can't do this. This is very hard. You have to have mobility to transfer as much as power as possible. Which leads us to the timing, impulse, and impact duration. You have to deliver the power in the shortest time possible. Think about Bruce Lee's one-inch punch. He didn't have that much of distance to accelerate, but he did it as sharply as possible, connected with the full force of the body. For example, a punch delivered in 5 milliseconds instead of 15 creates 3 times of the peak force. This is the concept of impulse. Impulse equals force times time. The satisfying thud of a perfect punch is massive force in minimal time. But that doesn't mean that you should pull your punches at the moment of impact. Impulse means that you punch through the target. You punch through it. So you have as much of impulse as possible, but you have to accelerate the punch prior to this in the minimal time possible. So you get a good acceleration. It's not a push, it's a whip, it's a snap. Which gives us the complete picture. You have to have ground reaction force, which comes from the earth. Hip rotation, which is very vital to the punch. Use your core, your lats, your lower body, and the traps, and your shoulders. You have to have timing in the kinetic cascade, and good impulse and you grab your wrist at the moment of impact, you will be a knockout artist. But you obviously have to train for this. It's not only a concept, you have to work for it. It's not that easy to achieve. The ultimate truth, punching power is about transforming your entire body into a united weapon through perfect biomechanical orchestration. And thank you for your time and your watching. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.